Navi's turn to ban.
Game 1 was quite the one-sided affair. Alliance making it look easy and hanging a 30-minute loss on Navi. Navi, though, had other things in mind in Game 2 and what has to be one of the most farmed games I've ever broadcasted in Dota 2. PL and Animage, full inventories on both, not even room for an Aegis on either side. But Navi able to catch Alliance asleep at the wheel just long enough to put an exclamation point and take a win against the PL, who by all accounts seem to be nigh unstoppable. Now, with everything on the line, we have our Game 3 on the way. Alliance and Navi here in the winner's bracket showdown of the G-1 Champions League Western Qualifiers. I'm AC, joined by you guys. Don't have a co-broadcaster here today. I want to thank everyone while I have a chance who has spent the day here. There's so many names, so many familiar names in the chat and so on that I see day in and day out, always here supporting the stream, supporting the tournament, supporting me personally. It really does mean the world, and I know you've been here for a long day, had 2 series go the distance, and now looking for a great conclusion to what so far has been an absolutely thrilling series between these two teams. Take a look at the bans. We can see Coddle not going to be joining us this time, and neither will the Lifestealer. Wisp banned out by Navi, still waiting to see what is going to be their last ban. But, you know, looking back in retrospect in that last game, I mean, I do want to clear one thing up, by the way. 2 things, actually. One, I will totally own up to having missed a racks down because I was focused on the action that was taking place in the Roche pit. So, my bad. That's on me. But aside from that, the comment I made about the last game, and it's the truth. It's legit. I mean, a couple. One, it is exhausting as a caster, especially solo casting, to broadcast a game like that. Doesn't mean it's a bad game, doesn't mean it's a boring game, but it is exhausting because you can only talk about items so much. And, you know, there comes a point where the theory crafting gets a little absurd. And I know there are some broadcasters and some viewers who love that, who love to just theory craft at length. That's not me. I mean, to me, I could talk about, you know, potential item builds, selling and buying and all this stuff, you know, items and all this. But there is a range of reason where, you know, you can't get too far out there with absurd stuff. And by the time I've covered where things are going to be, you know, talked about the butterfly, the MKB, and, you know, back and forth the diffusal, and, you know, we talked about all the items that could have come out for the Animage. You just run out of stuff to talk about. And given the style that both teams were playing, both were really not taking chances. We weren't seeing a whole lot of smokes. Eventually, they got underway a little bit. We saw a roll of the dice once in a while. But for the most part, both teams were just playing back and playing for Protect 1, and it was a return to the style of Dota that was very popular when I got my start about a year ago. And, you know, it was a very slow game, but all in all, some thrilling fights to round things out, and sometimes that can make it all worthwhile. Taking a look at who got who, Alliance able to land themselves a bad rider, S4 excellent on that hero. And Bulldog not bad on it either. We'll see who's going to get their hands on it. Navi first picks the Rubik, going to get the premier hero for Kuroki. And these 2 heroes right here, I would say if there's any 2 heroes that, like, if you were to cover the names of who's drafting and I saw the bans and the picks, I would immediately know it's Navi. I mean, Navi love Magnus. They love to have Dindy on Magnus. And Kuro, absolutely a game-changing Rubik. And he has played so well so far. He was on Rubik twice in a row. And having him back in condition now, he has just been such a huge part of Navi's success since joining the squad. And obviously, you say that, it sounds, you know, kind of silly. It's a 5-man team. Everyone's going to be a part of that success. But really, when I look back at the games I've casted of Navi since he's joined them, I can say without a whole lot of hesitation that when Kuro has a good game and executes well, those are the games Navi almost always wins. It's rare to see Kuro have a good game, but Navi not do well. It just, you know, a lot of their strategies, a lot of what they plan to do, and a lot of their safety in terms of just relying on playmakers, especially from that 4-5 support position. Kuro is just always the name that you can count on, and that's why you put him on a hero like Rubik, who's not only a playmaking hero, but a hero, when handled correctly, can completely turn a game around. So we're going to see the return of Animage here. Alliance picking up the Chen. And, you know, when I'm pretty sure I've actually seen Alliance run this exact lineup, at least 3 of these of their 5, with the Bad Rider, the Chen, and the Prophet. And I want to say it was, I can't remember who they were playing against, but going all the way back to the D2L Season 2 regular season. And this is something that they really do run fairly often. The bat doesn't always come out, but the Chen and the Prophet in particular, not only, I mean, the obvious is that they're going to bring you a lot of push, but what they can do even more so is allow you to play, if you can bait out an offensive tri-lane. Don't know if they'll be able to, but then again, Na'Vi did offensively tri-lane 2 of these 3 heroes last game as well. But if you can bait it out, you can actually put yourself in a position where the Chen and the Prophet, if played correctly, can take not just 1 kill or 2 kills, but get a big, big turnaround and then push all the way to the tier 2 at like 6-7 minutes into the game. And I've seen them do it time and time again, and what that allows them to do is just collapse everywhere on the map at once. If you're able to get away with that, if you're able to push down not just the tier 1 early, but to go ahead and, on the strength of a Chen, push down all the way to a tier 2, one of 2 things is always going to happen. Either the other team reacts because one hero is not going to be nearly enough to get there, so you end up forcing them to send resources elsewhere, which is a win in and of itself. Or you take the tower and the other team just says, okay, we're going to sack this. That's not a problem. But then you can begin to collapse Chen and Prophet very quickly. And what's very important about that second tower isn't just the obvious, the map control and what have you. The infusion of gold that comes with it almost always gives you the ability to get up a very quick mech if you're in the shoes of Chen. And if you have a quick mech, a 10, 12-minute mech, that is so hard to deal with, especially when you have a bad rider who, whether he has a blink dagger or not, is going to be able to lock down individual heroes under their own tower, drag them out, and take fights that way. So we'll have to wait and see what the plan is. But when you look at what Na'Vi's banned here, it looks like they're on the same page I am. But again, this isn't super high-level theory crafting or anything. I mean, you see the Chen and the Prophet, that's plenty of push. And they take out the Juggernaut, another excellent mid-game-oriented hero that has a ton of push with Healing Ward. Gyrocopter fits very well into that, except he gives you more safety belt in terms of late-game carry potential and the like, and of course, the true monster of push in terms of farming heroes. So Alliance, seeing that, they go ahead and pick up their Windrunner. We see the Nyx, the Storm Spirit, and the Darkseer all taken out and taken away from Na'Vi. And really, I mean, when I look at the plan, it's easy to underestimate just how much damage Windrunner can do if she stays on par with levels and does well with her levels early on. She is a hero that can fight a lot earlier and a lot more effectively than she often gets credit for. So Na'Vi now with Jakiro, again, I mean, look familiar, guys? Look familiar at all? And Na'Vi's not a team that's afraid to just repeat what they view as a successful sort of a mixture. And the good news is they're going to be able to defensively tri-lane fairly easily. Or they could, I mean, hell, they went for it last time. They offensively tri-laned the Animage, and they made it work for them. So we'll have to wait and see. But they may just want to get him off to a good start. And, when you look at the hard carry still available, Phantom Lancer is still in the pool. If Alliance wanted to go with that once again.
Alchemist.
And they're going to grab an Alchemist instead. Now, Alchemist is going to give them much better fighting potential early on. And it's easy to underestimate the power of Acid Spray in particular whenever you're talking about a push-oriented lineup. I would say Alliance in this situation is going to be looking to get most of their work done early, especially given they saw the Animage picked up as early as he was by Na'Vi, and not looking to go late again with the Phantom Lancer available to them, but an Alchemist certainly able to hang and bang with the best of them. If you're just tuning in, we're just about to get underway here in game number 3 of this best of 3 Alliance taking on Na'Vi. This is a winner's bracket match, so the team that loses will not be completely eliminated. They'll simply be knocked down to the lower bracket, where they'll still have a chance to battle through and possibly earn their punch their ticket, I should say, to the live land finals of the G-1. And, I said this initially during the first broadcast, or in the first game, I should say, that either of these teams, especially if they're in opposite ends of the bracket, there's no way anyone would expect anything except them meeting in the grand finals, or the winner's bracket finals at the very least. But they are instead running into each other in a middle round. So one of these teams will have a chance to qualify through the lower bracket. Now, one thing that is very important to note is that there is no convergence between the lower bracket and the winner's bracket at this point in the G1. The way that the format is set up is that, basically the winner's bracket finalist wins a spot into the LAN. The lower bracket finalist wins a spot into the LAN. That's all there is to it. So no matter who wins or loses here, this is the last time that either of these teams are going to see each other, and it'll be more about who they can run into later and who they're going to have to deal with in the lower bracket as well. So we could talk about that a bit towards the end. But for now, both teams just about ready to get underway. Tinker, the last pickup for Na'Vi. Didn't talk a whole lot about that. Really do like it as an anti-push measure, though. When you look at the lineup they've already assembled, they're going to have the ability to spam down waves pretty quickly. They're going to have Fade Bolt plus Dual Breath as well as Ice Path and Shockwave to help spam waves out and try to deal with Chin Creeps from afar, from a safe distance. And now they're going to have March of the Machines. And March of the Machines is just so hard early on to put any kind of pressure onto him. We'll see how he ends up building him. But it is going to be Funnick running on the Tinkers, so they might actually offensively tri-lane this or something kind of goofy. We'll have to wait and see. And, I mean, with the Alchemist, they might just be anticipating an offensive tri-lane. I doubt it. I mean, Chin just is not known for that. And yeah, I mean, we look at these three. They're already down here. EGM's down here as well. Bulldog on the Prophet, going to likely be in the off lane or just flat out in the jungle with the Bat going mid. And Na'Vi is hanging 3 down here. Dindy's there. Puppy's back at the well. And Funnick is good. Yeah, he's going to make his way up the top. So they are going to offensively tri-lane the Anti-Mage again. At least that seems to be what's going to happen. And that's an interesting choice. I mean, they've got great lockdown potential here. Especially if they get a stunning creep, if they get a Dark Troll Warlord. And they're able to land the net, land the shackle shot, and follow it up with an unstable concoction. And of course, Bulldog will be able to join the fight at any given point to contribute a Sprout. But for right now, gonna be another high-octane match. And they actually have rotated Funnick. Okay, so Havost is gonna go farm top. Don't mind that at all. Havost should do just fine against Bulldog. Bulldog will be able to put a little pressure on. Down here, this is going to be just all about play. Now, the way that Funnick skills, yeah, he's already put 1 point into March of the Machines. And that's a very defensive measure. Just guaranteeing that if they do try to engage in on them, he'll just throw that spell out. And they'll try to either stand and fight if they feel good about their chances or just run away and try to force the other team to engage through March of the Machines. We'll run through our lineups quick as we can, see who's handling who. And then we're going to have S4 on the bat. Shen going to be played by Ake. Alchemist going to be farmed by Loda. No surprise there with EGM playing on our Windrunner, as well as Bulldog on our Nature's Prophet. On the other side of the river, we got Puppy, the captain, playing Jakiro for the 3rd game in a row. Havo's going to be back on the hero. He rode to success in game number 2. That's our Anti-Mage. Magnus going to be handled by Dindy here in mid. Rubik going to be played by Kuroki once again. Another 3rd game in a row for him. And Funnick this time, though, going to be handling our Tinker. Now, looking at Loda, he has his first point into Unstable Concoction. No surprise there. How quickly he wants to max Goblin's Greed is going to be a point of interest. Acid Spray, great push and counter push measure. Lets you take fights a lot earlier than you might be able to otherwise. And Ake, how quickly he's going to be ready and willing to start moving around, come out of this jungle to perhaps free things up, going to be a question. But for right now, really, everything seems to be going fairly well. Tinker's got 7 last hits to the 2 of the Alchemist, so they're doing just fine. And Alchemist's not the most fun to last hit with. I actually hate his animation. And yeah, we can see Funnick already moving into the jungle, using March of the Machines to try and steal some creep CS. And this is just going to be problematic, especially when you got Puppy throwing out the Ice Path from the low ground, and they're going to try to engage on the Funnick. Down goes the Acid Spray. Power Shot cut him just at the end. Kuro's there. Can he buy enough time? He can. Barely gets him out of range. And here comes Puppy to try and help. Sentry Ward does go down, and a little bit of damage done. But both teams keep everyone up and fighting. Havost up against Admiral Bulldog here. We can see he's quite comfortable with the state of things. He's got 11 last hits. Bulldog is doing some decent harassment damage. We can see he has lost a bit of health. And now we're going to have Loda engaged upon. Ice Path follows it up. Down goes the March of the Machines. And every time Tinker does that, it is just so hard for EGM and Ake to try and get into the fight. And there's a shackle that's going to latch, lock Puppy down. 4 seconds. No, he's going to let it go. And Puppy going to be our first blood as Ake draws it. And you can see how much damage was done all around there. But as March of the Machines petered out, they re-engaged, and Puppy had his nose just a little bit too far forward and ended up paying the price. 1-0. Alliance leads. I actually think it's best that Ake got that kill as well. He's already level 4. He's going to get to 6 really quickly if this continues. He's got a great start towards a mech. He could just buy a buckler right now if he wanted to. Probably want to get his boots first, but at least one set of boots, his brown boots. He's got a smoke. And Dindy getting stacked up with the sticky napalm. Can make an enticing target. As good as Skewer is as an escape mechanism, when you're sticky napalmed, the enemy's not going to have much of a problem. You got 3 or 4 stacks on you, chasing you down is not going to be too problematic. Not too tough at all. Taking a look at the CS, Bat's doing great. He's got 26-17 for our anti-mage, so he's quite happy. 16 for our Chin out of the jungle. Tinker's got 15, 14 on Mag, 13 there for the Nature's Prophet, so he's not in awful shape again. And, you know, this should be just fine for both of them, but Havost will be able to mostly have his way. And the Alchemist sitting on 11. So Loda is being left behind in terms of farm at least a little bit, but he is Alchemist, so he will be able to make up some ground. So far, though, this tri-lane is working out quite well, I do believe, for Na'Vi. And very good laning choice. S4 is taking quite a bit of damage, but he has a haste rune, so... Has a haste rune bottle, so he's going to have plenty of health. And we can see with 1 point into mana break now for Havost. And this effectively shuts down Bulldog in a lot of ways. You know, whenever you're talking about a Nature's Prophet trying to cope with a melee hero like that, you can usually just use your treants, both to last hit and to do some damage for harassment. But you don't have any mana, guess what? Not only can you not summon them, you're going to have a hard time TPing even. I mean, obviously his regen's going to get him back to 50, but going back to the well, just because you take a little right-click harassment out of an anti-mage is not an optimal use of your time. Funnick continuing to be as obnoxious as he can, stealing a lot of jungle farm here. And we see the power shot actually being spent, and EGM will get the majority of these. 1,300 gold on Tinker. He's only 700 gold away from his bots now, which is excellent in its own right. And just really looking to be in good shape overall. Back up to Bulldog. We can see he is beginning to fall behind a smidge. And this is the liability that, you know, this is a liability that Loda and company have gonna have to do something about. I mean, Loda is not getting that much farm, and the anti-mage is. You don't want to be in that boat. Now EGM gonna be telekinesis back. Funnick's there, but with no disable. All they can do is right-click a little bit. You can see Funnick now stacking the Ancients, gonna be ready to use March of the Machines, which it seems he will be maxing. And Havost actually came real close to death there. Falls back, eats a tree. And Bulldog, with his phase boots now up, thought about pursuing, but thought better of it. Puppy has made his way up. Puppy is just level 2.5. Havost at level 6 already. And we're going to see Prophet go ahead and bail out, head back to the house. Here in mid, Kuro's hooked up with Dindy. Don't think he's been spotted yet. And they may try to do something here. And, yep, there we go. Telekinesis catches him, and there's the skewer back. Could not have been executed better, but the lasso interrupts the RP. Shame, I don't think it's going to matter. Yep, and he is going to end up dropping. Still very well executed. Quick on the lasso button, but not quick enough. And Bad Rider ends up being the second kill to go the way of Na'Vi, or the first kill to go the way of Na'Vi, I should say. And now we're going to see an engagement on the Bulldog. Bulldog gonna be cleaned up with the Mana Void. Make it 3-2 now. So Na'Vi going blow for blow with Alliance and doing quite a good job. 7 minutes in, 1,000 gold the lead for Alliance right now. The experience in their favor as well. Take a look. 2-0 on Shen. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Havost farm is going to become, again, a pretty stark liability. He's already got his treads up, Ring of Health, as well as a Poor Man's Shield. Net worth, he's tops on the board. Alchemist is actually closer than I would have thought he would have been. But now, with Puppy spending a lot more time here, Bulldog going to have to play it a lot more carefully. See, Funnick now has showed up in mid. And here comes Na'Vi, looking to get themselves a gank. Just poor Bulldog here by himself for now. And there's the skewer. Ice Path going to be off the mark. Diddy's right behind him, and Havost blocks in front. Tried to block him, but got him just enough to get the RP off. So they get the solo kill. Not seeing any rotation anywhere. And Loda has gone Hulk. So he's going to get what last hits he can. He is now putting points into his Goblin's Greed. But Na'Vi getting a high priority kill, taking Bulldog off of the board for a bit. We'll see if they want to push off of that. Looks like they might. Trent trying to drag creeps, but looks like trading 1 for 1 might be the plan. Ursa creep up there to face tank a bit. There is going to be a TP reaction, and now the March of the Machines. Going to make it a bit more of a chancy proposition. Shackle hits but doesn't land or doesn't latch. And they are going to be forced off as Na'Vi does react en masse. Havost unable to get the tier 1 top. Unable to really do a whole lot up there. And now S4 rotating up there. In the meantime, Havost is doing what he can. Dindy's in the jungle. And looks like there might be potential for a fight down here if they want to try to engage. Kuro's right back there, as is Puppey. Puppey very low on mana, though. And Loda beginning to show the strength of Goblin's Greed. Did not have the start the Anti-Mage did. Anti-Mage had, for the most part, nice chunk of free farm. Or damn near free farm. He's at 55, Loda's at 44, closing that gap admirably, but the Goblin's Greed definitely making a difference in terms of pure net worth and pure gold earned, really. Back to the old bat. He's not far from his Blink Dagger. Not far at all, about 200 gold. A very important item for them. You have a Chin, you have a Prophet, you don't necessarily want to play passively, especially up against an Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage versus Alchemist, depending on how you build him. We're actually going to see Loda get a Shadow Blade. And, you know, Loda does this a lot. I've seen him play Alchemist a handful of times. It's a very mid-game centric build, but I think it just jives what I was talking about. Especially now, your Alchemist building a Shadow Blade. You want to fight, you want to start pushing with Chen, and you want to put pressure on Na'Vi. Back to Avos, he's got his Perseverance up. He's about 700 gold away from his Broadsword. Claymore, obviously, 900 gold away. So we do a little math, that's 1,600 gold, give or take, till the Battle Fury is complete. And in the meantime, okay, now here in mid, he is level 7, has his ulti. He's got a headdress in his inventory, he's about 200 gold away from having enough for the buckler. Getting that mech up in due course. Has to be a priority. They're going to grab Kuro with the lasso, and he's going to be stomped by the Centaur. Furion ulti's there. And it's more than enough to help put a kill on the board. Puppey gonna spam out the ice path. And we're gonna see the TP from Furion to go bottom. Loda just gonna tank right through the March of the Machines. And go to work on the tier 1 bottom. Boots of Travel are done on Tinker now. He's not quite level 6. He has been maxing March of the Machines, 3 points into it. Havost forced off of the top tier 1 by Windrunner. And this is one of the strengths of Windrunner. She is just so strong all around early on. I mean, she's not going to give you the punching power that an Anti-Mage will or an Alchemist. But her utility is just gigantic. She can run in a variety of settings and do so effectively. She gives you a very powerful two-target stun if you're effective with it. And the damage that she gets out of Power Shot is really quite easy to underestimate. The range on it's pretty long, too. So we're going to have EGM engaged upon. And there's a Shackle, that 2-target stun, and Dindy's taking tower shots. And RP's going to be spin on Bulldog. Is it enough to get him away? It is! Are you kidding me? Havos, though, is going to end up being cleaned up as a result. That was a little nutso. Little bit nutso. Dindy spent the RP and got himself to safety. And they end up killing the Anti-Mage off as they react up to top. Looks like they want to try and take themselves a tower. And at this point, this is when Alliance is going to want to put their foot on the pedal and not let up at all. Blink Dagger done on S4, okay. Only about 300 gold from having his mechanism done. EGM's made his way down to bottom to farm a bit. And that top tier 1 does go away. Dindy. Chancy as hell, I love it. Blow the RP and TP. And Alliance is not abandoning this, and this is the right call. Set up shop in the jungle. Use the fact that you've built to be effective right now. That Shadow Blade on the Alchemist is absurdly strong. He's going to have level 2 ulti and about 500 experience, 600 experience. And make them deal with you. Make them cope with you. We can see Dindy trying to find some farm here in the jungle. They know RP's down, so that in itself is enough motivation. Oh, Havos going to be lassoed back. Can they kill him fast enough? Charging the stun up. There it is, and Havos Gonna end up dropping. S4 gets the kill as he smolders in the Firefly damage. Now, Phonic is going to be able to hold this off at least for the moment because of the strength of March of the Machines, but that's a very high priority kill. Delay Havos development and let Bulldog continue to farm. FaZe and Bassi up on Bulldog. We'll see if he wants to get a Midas afterward. And the mech is now done on Ake. So being able to split push now if they want. Send the Prophet to one lane, let him push, while you 4 push another, then have him TP in if and when a fight begins, or if and when you want to start a fight. Very much going to be an option on the table for them. And a mech up at 14 minutes, I mean, it's just so strong. It really, really is. It makes such a difference in the way you can play. Loda's picked up a set of plate mail. He might just go straight for a cuirass, which is perfectly okay. I mean, the Shadow Blade's going to give him the damage he needs right now. Obviously not as good as a totally full inventory. But we can see he's already opened up 1,000 gold gap in terms of net worth on that Anti-Mage, and that's entirely on the back of Goblin's Greed. He's got 67 last hits to the 81 of AM, and he's still 1,000 gold ahead. Just because of how strong Goblin's Greed happens to be. Okay, smokes up along with S4. Very potent gank combination here, by the way. These two, each by themselves, are not going to work. But just having the creeps to net to Centaur Stomp after a lasso, just such an effective and time-efficient way to try and gank. Because these are two heroes who can afford to take a little time away. These are two heroes that can afford to spend 60 seconds moving and looking for a gank that might not be there. And Magnus is going to be blinked upon and lassoed. He's brought back. Alchemist is right there. And Dindy locked down. Furion ulti is there. Mech used, and look at that, right back to full health. With Mag down, they can't fight. They flat out cannot fight. This is the best they can do. Again, don't get me wrong, it is effective. But they cannot do anything but spam March of the Machines and hope they can keep map control. Shin's going to go ahead and use Hand of God. And that tower goes the way of goes the way of Loda, I should say, and Alliance. Loda's got 1,300 gold in the bank. Havos taking some damage here. And EGM right there with Admiral Bulldog, enough to force him back out. Tier 2 bottom might be the next target. S4 doing a little jungle farming. And this is why, I was talking about this. Whenever you gank, you usually want to go in packs that you know can get quick kills. And obviously having Loda around does help. But even if these two just travel together by themselves, this is the reason why they can afford to just spend time looking for ganks by themselves. And even if they don't find it, it's still all right. Because they can just fall back into the jungle and do just fine. Bad Rider in particular is an absurdly fast jungler once he gets his first initial levels under him. Once he gets a maxed out Firefly, for example. And of course, Chen lives and breathes the jungle. Bulldog's actually getting himself a Shadow Blade as well. So, 2 Shadow Blades on the side of Alliance. You think maybe they want to win in the mid game? And given the way that, oh wow. Avo's going to eat the stun. Down goes the Assassin. He's going to try to blink, and he should be able to get away. But Bat Rider's there showing off a 4-step, but it's right into the middle of the team. Ice Path's going to be off the mark, and he is going to be skewered. Avost is going to be able to clean it up, and now the rest of Alliance is there. And what a shot! EGM! Showing off the sniper's goggles with a long-range power shot. Picks off the Anti-Mage mid-retreat from downtown. Oh, what a shot, EGM. And I'll tell you what I loved about it. He lined it up perfectly. Lined it up perfectly. The guy was like, I want to say he was like either right here or right here. And he just took his time. He might have been back here, actually. Yeah, it was back here. And he just took his time perfectly and had to have hit that at max range. I mean, he just drilled it. In fact, let's give him a little bullseye. Yes, that's a bullseye. What a shot, and a very high priority kill to bring Havos down. Havos is still lacking a Battle Fury, and he had free farm and was on his way to it at about 14 minutes. Granted, he did pick up some items in front of it. No, yeah, never mind. I opened my big mouth, and you had it on the courier, you jerk. But anyway, so Battle Fury is up at 18, but still later than he would have liked. Nonetheless, the onus still remains on Alliance to execute here. Don't want to give any space, no room to breathe, to Na'Vi, and allow them to put this Anti-Mage through its paces again. Phonic has Soul Ring Bottle, Boots of Travel, and there's a lasso. This is a good kill to get. Power shot, gonna be off the mark, but doesn't matter.
I can't take much more of this.
Tinker drops. And what's beginning to happen is Na'Vi is just being outmaneuvered. That's the only way to put it. They have to know. I mean, at this point, they know Furion and Loda both have Shadow Blades. So they have to know that trouble can be lurking around any corner. And you have to adapt your play to that. To say nothing, of course, of the fact that S4 already has a blink and a force staff. The reach he has right now is simply insane. And they're just being picked apart. And Loda continues to just find his farm. Still on top of the Anti-Mage. He wants an Assault Cuirass. He'll have it soon. He could have the Hyperstone right now. Chainmail not far behind. And yeah. Oh, what a Sprout! Oh, that might be the sexiest play I've seen in G1.
Punished for your sins.
Oh my goodness. What reaction out of Bulldog. And I'll tell you why. Seeing the shackle to the Sprout is one thing. The shackle shot was loosed before Bulldog sprouted. The shackle shot was mid-air. And Bulldog, whether intentionally or unintentionally, maybe he was late to the trigger and that's why it made it look so sexy. But hang on, Loda. Engaged upon here. Now we're going to have another lasso on Kuro. Kuro in trouble, eats the damage and falls again. Where was this in game 2? And now Puppy gonna be netted down and sprouted in. He's eating a lot of damage. Skewer's there, but it doesn't matter. Puppy drops. Shackle gonna hit the one tree! There's one tree here! There is one tree in that entire area! And EGM manages to find it! Are you kidding me? EGM and Bulldog making it look easy. An alliance. Perhaps on the way to running away with game 2. The Anti-Mage, of course, a mitigating. Look at this. Just look at this. There's nothing here. Nothing here. And he hits this one tree. What a shot. The plays that we're seeing out of EGM are just off the charts. The guy hits a downtown power shot to kill Anti-Mage once. He lets loose a shackle that latches because his buddy throws a Sprout. That would not have latched without the Sprout, by the way, I don't think. And Bulldog throws the Sprout while the shackle shot is mid-air. And then he does this. This tree is now known as EGM. This is the EGM tree. He carved his initials in it for all I care. 14-5. Alliance almost tripling up their competition. Na'Vi, though, wants to try and change that. They've got a gank on the way. Puppy and Kuro waiting in the river. They've got help on the way. Bulldog, see you, buddy. Sentry down, ice path, and yeah. Super dead. No other way to put it. 5-man gank. Pretty strong. And looks like S4 is going to try and hold the line, but that's a whole Na'Vi team. Loda, in the meantime, though, has crept up the net worth. He's at 12,000. And they're going to end up trading a tier 1 for a tier 2 here. This is not optimal. And Loda just continuing to go to work. Has his Assault Cuirass done. Na'Vi's continuing to push, and yeah, they're just going to go for it. So that's fine. Tier 1 for tier 2, that's okay. I'm fine with tier 3 for tier 2 as well. Kuro's there. Throws out the Fade Bolt. And they are going to be forced to back off the tier 2 as well. As the rest of Alliance did react. Back to our Anti-Mage. He's got a Yasha, so he's making progress. He is behind in terms of net worth, but it doesn't mean he's out. Roshan looks to be the next target. Loda goes Hulk, blows himself up, but that's okay. Accidents happen, big guy. Don't worry, no one saw. And right now, Na'Vi doesn't seem to be... we see him drawing. Kuro just drew a plate of spaghetti, and Fonic's going to be there. He lassoed in. So not only do they get the Aegis for free, they get an Aegis and a free kill on Tinker. I mean, Alliance is playing out of their mind right now. There's no other way to say it. It's not just one person doing it either. Everyone, S4, gets another pick. He has played phenomenal. I haven't even talked about him much. Just because he's doing his job, but the thing is, on heroes like a Bad Rider, who just by their very nature, if they're executed correctly, can be almost unstoppable in the mid game. Just doing your job on a Bat Rider and doing it effectively could be enough to give you a win half the time. But he's getting so much help. The play of EGM, Loda's been playing remarkable. This is just a game that Na'Vi better get under control quickly. I mean, Havost, again, he's doing his job. He's farming. He's in range. He's in 5 figures in terms of net worth. The gold per minute, though, he's more than 100 GPM behind, and that's not going to get better. Loda is just going to continue to up that. And yeah, we can see that right here. Net worth now 4,000 to the advantage of Loda. And this is just really a well-executed lineup that is abusing Na'Vi. And EGM took a look, thought better of it. Now, looking at Na'Vi's lineup, they still have a lot of things going for them. They are not out of this by any stretch. In fact, I mean, we look at this. Okay, maybe they're... I honestly didn't expect that. I was thinking somewhere between 5 and 10,000 gold, because I haven't checked it in a while. That's a lot of gold! The experience is in 5-figure range, too. They're further behind than I assumed, but the good news is they have the most effective flash farmer in the game, and they have a team that is nigh on impossible to crack unless they get a pick and push. Trying to push into maxed out, I mean, as far ahead as you are, there is never a circumstance in which maxed out spam of March of the Machines is going to be something you want to cope with. They've got Magnus. Magnus in and of himself is a huge deterrent. But again, the way they've been playing, if they get this level of play out of S4 and EGM and Bulldog, honestly, they're just going to go for it, and that might be what they choose to do. And here we go, Loda with the Aegis. He picked up a Deso, actually. And it looks like, yeah, Rubik got his ulti. And now Rubik gonna be lassoed and drug out. There's the shackle. Didn't go to his tree, but locked him down just long enough. Rubik buys back immediately.
Top tower is under attack.
That would have been so beautiful if he had shackled him to his tree. That's the EGM tree. Tell all your friends that is the EGM tree. Belongs to him. It's his.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
But they get the kill, but the buyback from Rubik does force them back, at least for the moment. They don't want to spend the Aegis for no good reason. Loda continuing to fatten up. Anti-Mage is closing the gap, though. And this is just what you're going to have. So there is still an element of risk here for Alliance. They're going to look to pick him off. And they're going to guess right. This is just, I mean, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Good silence. And immediately locked down. Beautifully executed, very well done. Batrider actually picked up some boots of travel as well. And EGM didn't even notice his inventory. He added that Orchid. Orchid, the absolute best shutdown anti-mage item in the game. Bonus damage, lets you burst him quicker. Silence, you can't blink. Easy peasy. I mean, Alliance, this might be the best I've ever seen Alliance play. I honestly think it is. I've broadcasted them a lot. No Loda, no Bulldog, no all of these guys pretty well. No Loda really well. I don't know that I've ever seen them play this well. And this is going to help Na'Vi, though. Getting S4 blown up for free. They're going to go ahead and clip. And there's a buyback from the Bat. Bat does have boots of travel, so he's going to be able to get back very quickly. And Rubik did get acid spray. That certainly helps, but Loda just face tanking through it. They'll fall back and wait on the Bat again. And he has rejoined. Lincoln Force Staff gives him all the reach he needs. And Na'Vi very well aware. Poor Kuroki's been lassoed a million times. He has just not had a good game. He does have a haste rune and his own blink dagger. And are they going to fall back? Let's see if they're going to wait on another creep wave or if this is a real fallback. They might smoke here. This is something that they do if they have a smoke. Nope, I don't think they have any on them. That's something very typical that you'll see Alliance do a lot. EG does it as well. They'll back off of a push, smoke, and wait for you to come back out. They're still waiting. And we're going to see Bulldog go bottom. And Puppy able to de-ward. That's just such a smart sentry there. Knowing that with the tower down, they most likely... hang on. Oh, no! S4, unable to get him. Very well played by Avost. And now Na'Vi coming out a bit, knowing that the Prophet isn't there. We see the March of the Machines being spammed by Tinker, but a lot of global presence available right now for a lot of players. Loda? Nomming on that lovely Goblin's Greed. Scythe of Ice should be done on Funnick before too terribly long, if he can keep this up. And, you know, this is honestly a point of, you gotta be getting a little nervous if you're Alliance now. Unless you can do this. I was gonna say, you know, Anti-Mage is farming. Can they kill him? He is gonna eat the Shackle, but he uses the Manta. Silence, but not long enough to keep him from blinking. Manta's away, or Manta's out of the silence from Orc and Malevolence. So that can't be relied upon. They're gonna have to chain stun him. S4 gonna be sent back to the Hoos. 17-8. Still remains Alliance's game, but there is an Anti-Mage on the board. And Alchemist is awesome, don't get me wrong. But I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm still baffled that Na'Vi won game 2. I am. There was a point where, when it comes down to it, you have to, at some point you have to decide when you're going to take your shot. And I feel like that really hurt Alliance in game 2. They could have pushed so many times. The one that stands out is when they took the tier 2 bottom and got a kill. I can't remember who it was they picked off. But, I think it was Puppy actually, now I think about it maybe. I don't know. But they picked him off. They were right about in this vicinity. And they decided to back when they had a 5-on-4 advantage. And there was no buyback on the other side. I mean, that right there was a moment that the game turned around. And I hope they don't make the same mistake this time. They have a very solid lead. It is scary pushing into Na'Vi's team because of how well they can turtle, and how quickly they can turn a fight in their favor with an RP, with a stolen ability from Kuroki, and so on. But Funnick's gonna get his farm. He will be fat. Anti-Mage, yeah. Havos knows how to farm. We saw that in action. And as good as Alchemist is, 1 RP, Anti-Mage plus Empower. That's no joke, man. That is legit. Scythe of Ice done on Admiral Bulldog now. Loda's still farming. He's got 4,000 gold in the bank. We'll see what the item choice is going to be. We're going to see a lasso on Havos. They got to clean him up quickly. They have to silence him out right now. There's the Scythe. And the Ice Path gets there just in time. RP's going to be spent. Havos is still alive, at least for the moment. Hand of God going to be spent. S4 looking for safety. Ake trying to get into the fight. Bulldog's burning to death, but should be able to survive. Dindy going to track down S4, and that's our only casualty.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Havos had his whole team come to his rescue. The RP spent by Dindy just to bail him out, essentially. And in the meantime, Loda looking to take a racks in mid. They reacted, managed to get back in time.
Dire's top tower is under
Ake did everything he could moving through the river. Just not enough. S4 came very close to getting away, but Magnus blinked across the chasm as well and tracked him down with a shockwave. So Na'Vi holding fast, wanting to extend this game. And at this point, Ake, I mean, he's picked up a 4-staff, which, I mean, I understand it. But at this stage of the game, mightn't it have been better to go for a Scepter? Because I still don't think, I mean, obviously, Alchemist can do okay against an Anti-Mage late. But why take the chance? You've got a 14,000 gold lead right now. You've got a 10,000 experience lead right now. While the players don't know the exact numbers, they have to know they're pretty far ahead. Don't do what you did in game 2. Don't sit back and let them farm their way back into this ball game. Back into this Dota game. Press your advantage now. 32 minutes in, we got 26 kills on the board, 17 of them belonging to Alliance. Mechanism, almost complete on Puppy. Quite late on that. We got a Hood of Defiance up on EGM right now, so he's likely to get himself a pipe. Our bat, still sitting on the same items as always. Now, something Na'Vi is going to have to be real careful about is buyback status. Anti-Mage and Mag need to be able to buy back no matter what. No matter what. Roche is going to be spawning right now. That's likely to be our next battleground. Na'Vi's going to want to challenge this. I mean, there's no way they're going to be okay with giving this away. Havos is split pushing, but Bulldog's right there, and we're going to see him reveal himself now. That'll force Havos to blink away. In the meantime, Loda and company just hacking away at Roshan. And Na'Vi's actually not going to respond. So they get this one for free.
Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
Free Aegis for Loda. He's got a BKB now. That ended up being his choice. Still got 3,000 gold in the bank as well. But having that BKB certainly nice. Means March of the Machines is a little less effective. Shockwave, Macropyre, not going to be a problem. The right click of Anti-Mage is formidable. It's not something to sleep on. He's hitting for 200, but more importantly, he gets the mana damage, or the mana break damage, and he's hitting very quickly. But if that's your biggest problem, you should be all right. Again, though, it's going to come down to the execution of Alliance. They've had it all game. They stalled out in their last push. I feel like this is one they really don't want to stall. This is, with an Aegis as well. Now they're going to go and use the lasso on Puppey. Can they get him outside? They can. And the shackle did not latch to his tree, but came close. Loda gets the kill there. He's dominating. Looks like this set of racks, not long for the world. March of the Machines is there. They glyph it. Here comes Funnick. Funnick still does not have his Scythe of Ice. And what did he get? Managed to get Unstable Concoction. Loda able to bring down the racks. Very good pickoff on Puppey. S4 has played a really good Bat Rider. Again, and the thing about a Bat Rider is, it's so easy. It's like, oh, you just do your job. With Bat, it's not absolutely about making sure you use lasso every time it's off cooldown or something like that. Picking your targets and safely eliminating one hero from the board every time. That's what he's done. I mean, the biggest priority is going to be Mag. Dindy is the grail if you can get him. But even when he can't, what he's doing is just going, okay, I can, not every time. He has actually had a couple where he blinked into trouble. But what he's been able to do is go, okay, in that situation, I can't get Dindy. Hold on. Funnick now going to be spotted out. He's Scythe and going to be locked in. Funnick is... no, not going to be able to make a way. They barely got him. Barely got him. Bat Rider with the Flame Break got him there. Now that's tremendous. See that buyback? Oh, no. He bought his Scythe. That's Rax. They can't challenge this. Oh, Tinker. Gotta have buyback. I said it just moments ago. Not having March, not having Laser for the miss percentage on Loda. Oh, that is a disaster for Na'Vi. That might cost them the game. I mean, not to say that it's his fault. I mean, this game was more or less out of reach for a while. Now we're going to see a Vost barrage back. RP got everybody, though. Can they clean it up? And they can. Aegis. Not popped yet. And just look at Loda chopping wood, though. Buybacks aplenty come out. Two sets of racks are down in Havost, making his last stand or trying to. Tries to blink away and does manage to do so. RP from Dindy was on the money, but it may be too late. As Loda's just too big. Two sets of racks down. Hell, they still got a tier 1 tower up at 36 minutes. And Na'Vi gonna play this out, obviously. But I mean, look at the last hits, by the way. Anti-Mage 327, 229 for the Alchemist. But then you look at the net worth. Bingo. 7,000 to the advantage of Alchemist. Goblin's Greed, OP, bro. The genius of what Alliance did with this lineup is they made marginal investments. They took a risk, basically. I mean, when you build first item Shadow Blades on a Prophet and on your Alchemist, you better hope you get something out of them. You better hope that you're using them and you're getting not just a kill, but you're getting a kill in the tower. And Loda's just going to go for it right on the tower. He's got an Aegis. He don't care.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And speaking of the Aegis, he's still got 2 minutes on him, by the way, so they actually can still push with it if they want. But getting the Shadow Blades up, they built their lineup to be a transition lineup. Their lineup was never meant to 100% win the game in the mid-game, but in effect they did. Hold on, there's another good lasso on Puppey. Puppey is telekinesis back, but the force stab brings him out anyway. Havost re-engages. Shackle shots there, but doesn't latch. Puppey still in trouble. There's a Scythe of Ice used. Havost BKB up, trying to lock down Ake. Loda's chasing him down. Mana Void will get the kill, but he does have enough mana for a blink if he wants it. And it looked like Bulldog wanted to guess where he went. They go 1 for 1, Ake for Puppey. But Loda still with his Aegis up. RP is available. Loda has been scythed, but no follow-up. Pipe is popped in the meantime. This will be Megas. Nope, hang on. Lasso that was stolen by Kuro. There's a nice RP that caught a couple. Just not enough follow-up. Skewers him right back into the grindhouse, though. 2 gonna drop. EGM's gonna win run away. But they're gonna lose their racks regardless. And now there's a shackle. I don't know how that didn't latch, actually. But silence used. Bulldog, Scyther, Shadow Blades away. EGM going to try to win run away.
Dark barracks are under
And, yep, there's a shackle. Paying back the favor to Dindy, who did that earlier. Dropped the hammer of an RP just to avoid a gank. Or just a TP away from a gank. 21-15. Na'Vi showing signs of life, but what I fear may be nothing but a death rattles. The only thing they have standing now is this melee, or this range tracks. Take a look at our gold. We're in the neighborhood of 20,000 to the advantage of Alliance. Less than 8,000 experience to the advantage. So, I mean, Na'Vi is winning a bit here. At least in terms of cutting down on the experience gap, but they're just all in on hoping they can somehow extend this game and let Anti-Mage get huge. Because right now, he's got a lot of ground to make up if he ever wants to catch Loda. Wonderfully played so far. And Loda, we'll see. He's got a relic. I want to know what he's going to buy. Is he going to get a Radiance? Like, seriously? 40-minute Radiance for him. Is he going to build a Rapier? Now, that'd be fun. Do it, Loda. Build a Rapier. Go do it, man. Go do it. Come on, Loda. Stop dancing. Go build a Rapier. He's probably got the recipe. Nope. That's no fun. He's going to get an Abyssal. But, still a very effective item. Even if it's not as fun as a Rapier. Right now, I mean, it's hard to, you know, we're seeing in bits and pieces that Na'Vi does have the ability to challenge and take fights at this stage of the game. They just lost so much ground due to the execution of Alliance, and now we're going to have another lasso go off. Didn't even see who or what he got. And, no, it was down here. No wonder. They managed to get a Vost. So, a Vost down for 86 seconds. He have buyback? He does. And he will do so. So, after the buyback, Alliance once again plays it safe, backs out. Roche going to be back up in about 3 minutes. And Bulldog continuing to just farm his heart out. He's got 4,000 gold in the bank. Basically everyone on the side of Alliance is rich right now. And Loda, we can see, doing quite a bit of damage. Now hitting for 328. Just by virtue of his items. He's also got the armor reduction from the Deso, which is nice. And I'm really quite surprised Alliance, or excuse me, Na'Vi hasn't just GG'd. But, I mean, you've got an Anti-Mage. If there's an Anti-Mage on the map, you don't want to call it too early. No reason to. They do still have a very tough-to-defeat team, a team that can turtle. And looks like desperation push time. Shackle hits Phonic, doesn't latch. Yeah, this is going to be their desperation push. Now, Havos is hitting quite hard as well. And there's Loda showing his face, the blink away from Anti-Mage. And the rest of Na'Vi is going to go ahead and back off. Thought for sure they're just going to 5-man push and hope. But Havos does go to farm. He's looking to get a butterfly up. Very important item for him. Unfortunately for him, Loda has completed that Abyssal. So he will be able to stun him regardless. And that should, you know, one stun from the Abyssal up. Hang on, another lasso gonna catch Puppy. Poor Puppy has not had too much luck in terms of lassos. And Avos now will be stunned with the Abyssal. And netted down, see ya. No buyback. Hand of God gets them back up and ready to fight. EGM actually ate a shackle. RP from Dindy, but not a lot of follow-up. He's going to skewer and catch all three. Now pops the BKB, trying to do what he can, but Loda's there to help force him back. And the Force Staff use, he's going to pursue it out. He's going to be side-devised. Kuro not going to be making it to the well, at least not the way he wants. Phonic will TP away. But that should be that. And the GGs come out. Kuro, Avost, both calling the GG congrats. And Alliance, who looked to have shut this series down in Game 2, but had one, basically gave one away to Na'Vi. Walk away with a very impressive win. Took a little longer than I think anyone would have expected, based on how far ahead they actually were. But impressive nonetheless. They advance through the winner's bracket, past Na'Vi. Na'Vi will be falling to the lower bracket. Pretty sure Na'Vi's going to be meeting Team Liquid in the lower bracket. I have to confirm that. I'm almost positive it's going to be EG taking on Dignitas in our lower bracket, with Na'Vi playing against Team Liquid. 42 minutes, 48 seconds, the official game time. 25-15, the final kill score. And Loda showing the strength of Alchemist, 749 GPM. By the time all was said and done.